is Ximending, one of the busiest shopping districts in all of Taipei.
And a bustling hub of youth culture.
Let's get a selfie.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thanks, buddy. He's not much of a talker, is he?
That's right.
As you can see, this is one of the many pieces of public art in Taipei that injects a little bit of humor into our daily lives.
And today, for April Fool's Day, we're going to take a look at the lighter side of Taiwan. And we're going to start with a news story that it seems almost like an April Fool's joke. It's the Taiwanese operated boat that was blocking the Suez Canal. Leslie Liao is going to tell you how the internet responded.
We'll also show you how big the boat would look if it dropped anchor right in the middle of Taipei.
And later on, reporter Staś Butler heads to a comedy club to find out where Taiwan gets its special sense of humor. I'm Natalie Tso.
And I'm Andrew Ryan, and this is Taiwan Insider. It took 10 years to build the Suez Canal and just a matter of minutes to plug it up.
Right.
Of course, we're talking about the Evergreen, which is this massive container ship that's operated by the Taiwanese company Evergreen.
So how big is this boat? Well, this is what it would look like if it dropped anchor in the middle of Taipei. The tip of the boat is near the Evergreen Museum, and it would stretch all the way to the presidential office building.
So as you can see, the Evergreen Museum is actually behind the East Gate, which is just behind us. Now, if you plunked the boat down right in front of the East Gate and walked all the way to the presidential office building, how far would it be?
Come with us, we're going to show you. That was 400 meters. It's almost as long as the longest ship in service. In fact, it's only a fraction of a centimeter shorter than the longest one.
It's amazing, and then actually the boat is wider than this road. Now, fortunately, the boat has been freed. However, there were 2 more Evergreen incidents just this past week. We saw photos of a massive truck blocking a highway in Nanjing, China last weekend.
And another container ship, the Ever Gentle, yes, that's its real name, got hit by a crane at Taipei Harbor. So not a great week for Evergreen.
No, not at all. I love those boat names though. Ever Gentle. There's another one called Ever Genius.
I like that one.
Well, of course, this is a serious matter and it has cost a lot of money. But as you can imagine, the internet responded with humor. Here's a rundown of all the memes with Leslie Liao in Hashtag Taiwan.
The biggest story this week is the Suez Canal. Now, for those of you going, Suez Canal? What happened at the Suez Canal? What's the Suez Canal? Then I'm comfortable saying you don't watch the news. Here's what happened. A skyscraper-sized ship called the Evergreen veered sideways while traversing the Suez Canal. It got stuck and clogged a major trade artery for 6 days. It was estimated that the world lost $9.6 billion in trade volume for every day the ship was stuck. Now, some of you might be wondering what a ship stuck in Egypt has to do with Taiwan, and I'll tell you. It's Japanese-owned, Taiwanese-operated, registered in Panama, and piloted by an Indian crew. I feel bad for the lawyer who needs to figure out who's responsible. You probably already know that the ship is no longer stuck. My source, istheshipstillstuck.com, says the Evergreen was stuck for 6 days, 3 hours, and 38 minutes, costing about $59 billion in trade. Now, losing $59 billion of anything is no laughing matter, but when it comes to setups for jokes, this may be the best one ever given. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiters. NPR reporter Camila Dominowski tweeted asking for stupid ideas to solve the problem. For example, she proposed getting many helicopters to lift one end of the boat. Others jumped in with impractical ideas, like shoving a giant cotton swab up the canal, using industrial-grade lubricant, or putting a ramp over the Evergreen to let other ships jump over it. Then pop culture came to the rescue with people taking ideas from Disney, Godzilla, and cartoons to solve the problem. Other internet users, however, took comfort in the fact that they weren't the ones that clogged the canal. The Higgs boat Swain tweeted, "Good news for today. Whatever happens, at least you're not the guy who got his boat stuck in the Suez Canal and broke maritime shipping." And another meme says, You may make mistakes, but at least they're usually not "we can see your mistake from space" bad. But the strangest part about this whole ordeal is how much people related to a ship stuck in a canal. A bunch of images of builders trying to dislodge the Evergreen surfaced, and people began using those images as metaphors to comment on their own work ethic and well-being. For example, here the giant ship is labeled "the incessant crushing weight of existence." Next to it is a tiny tractor labeled "drinking exactly 2 beers." You might think that people were relieved when the ship started moving again, but no, actually people were sad to see it go. New memes are constantly surfacing. The last 3 weeks have been really eventful, but for those who need a refresher, have a look at this meme. It says, "Taiwan in 1971. We left the UN and are very sad. However, Taiwan in 2021 is more like we have TSMC and yummy pineapples, love salmon and block the Suez Canal." What a difference 30 years makes. Can you imagine where Taiwan will be in the next 30 years? We're going to be blocking off space canals, tell you what, all the way up in outer space, disrupting intergalactic trade.
Now that would take a pretty huge vehicle to block off traffic in space.
Yeah, I know, seriously. I love those memes. Leslie always has some good memes for us, doesn't
He
he?
sure does.
So what makes Taiwan a good place for comedy? Well, Taiwan Insider's Staś Butler went to a comedy club to find out.
Taiwan is a funny place full of funny people, but what makes it a special place to do comedy? To find out more, I decided to head to 2-3 Comedy in Taipei.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Here for the comedy? Yeah.
It's the center of a new boom in stand-up comedy. I asked people what brought them here.
Brian.
A lot of them said it's down to Brian Tsung. He was the star of an incredibly popular American-style comedy show that began on YouTube in 2018. And it was him that set up 2-3 Comedy in the first place. But I wanted the answer to a bigger question. What makes comedy in Taiwan different from anywhere else?
没有不一样，不一样。我觉得对，有时候西方的喜欢的幽默跟台湾的或许。
And I think you just get a good mix of people coming here through too. Like some of the funniest like Taiwanese comedians I've seen were performing in the English side.
It's honestly quite international, more so than maybe I expected when I first came here. I've only been here a couple years.
我觉得会来看这些活动的，应该都是可以，就是接受这些没有尺度的笑话。
I came away from 2-3 with the impression that the diversity of audiences and performers might hold the key to understanding comedy in Taiwan. And to learn more about both culture and comedy, I knew just where to go. The following morning brought me to the Kishuan Forest of Literature, an old Japanese restaurant, to an event by Taiwan Next Gen Foundation on art and multilingualism. It was a fascinating experience, and the highlight for me was a performance by Formosa Improv Group, or FIG. They've been performing improv comedy in multiple languages for almost 3 years now. The climax of the show included segments in 4 languages: Mandarin, English, Taiwanese, and French. I spoke to 2 of the group's performers, Deanna and William, about what they've learned performing in different languages.
I think now it's becoming more inclusive. I see more Taiwanese people getting involved in what is improv and what is stand-up comedy, whereas maybe before it was more foreigner heavy because that was part of their culture.
I feel like Taiwan brings kind of all sorts of different people and Taiwanese people and kind of pushes them together.
Well, personally, for me, performing in both languages is quite challenging. Confusion.
You're very confused recently.
I see a lot of signs everywhere.
会看到很多 signs.
My first language is Spanish, native language, so Chinese and English are not my first language, but I'm trying to learn. It's definitely challenging, not only because of the language, but because of the culture. Some terms don't translate to either culture, so trying to make it as inclusive and as diversified as possible. It's always really fun for the audience.
Spirits, what is her professional future? 哦，你未来会买一个背包。
in the previous groups that I've been in, we've been extremely mortified for the non-Taiwanese members like to perform in Chinese. We'd be like, oh my goodness. But we found that performing in both languages, and especially in Chinese, like the audience is very, very, very forgiving and has a great time when we use Chinese.
Hello. 你很久没有来找我了。
And so there is a Taiwanese sense of humor, but it's evolving faster than ever now in its own direction, which is really fun.
I think because Taiwan is so welcoming to all kinds of different arts, and also it's quite diversified. Anybody speaking any language, we can all communicate with each other. Like improv, it doesn't necessarily take a high level of language proficiency, but also using your body and the concept of yes and. So I think Taiwan overall is very, very welcoming.
For me, here is where it all started to make sense. Sitting in a Japanese colonial-era building with an audience from all over the world, laughing at comedy in languages I don't even speak. If anything makes Taiwan's comedy special, it has to be that unique mix of cultures and people. And what's even more exciting? For Taiwan's comedy scene, I know this is just the beginning.
I think Stash has a great point there. Whenever different cultures come together, I mean, there are endless opportunities for comedy.
That's true. It gives you new perspectives on life, right?
Yes, and I've certainly done some very silly things trying to learn Chinese.
I can imagine. Before we leave you today, a look at some other stories that are on our radar.
The Taiwan-Palau travel bubble is now in place. Palauan President Suringel Whips Jr. was on the first flight from Taipei to Palau on Thursday at the end of a 5-day state visit to Taiwan. The president was traveling with the first batch of Taiwanese tourists looking to take advantage of the reduced COVID restrictions. But travel agencies are reporting poor sales on trips to Palau, with bookings below 50% capacity. They blame high prices and complicated COVID regulations. Taiwan saw yet another maritime accident this week, though thankfully not quite on the scale of the Evergreen's blocking of the Suez Canal. A massive new fishing vessel capsized in the southern port city of Kaohsiung just as it was setting out on its maiden voyage. Fortunately, no one was injured, and the boat was tugged back to harbor. Taipei's iconic Grand Hotel has opened up a second secret tunnel to the public. The hotel opened the West Wing in 2019, and now it's opened up the East Wing as well. The tunnels were built to allow VIPs to escape in case of emergency at a time of Cold War tensions. They're chock full of special design features that make it harder for pursuers to shoot at the escapees. There's a fungus among us, and a delicious one at that. Taiwan has its own recently discovered species of white truffle. The Taiwan Forestry Research Institute bets that techniques it's developed will allow commercial production to start within a decade, perhaps putting Taiwanese truffles on a dinner plate near you.
And our final question of the day, what item from everyday life in Taiwan would be great for a comedy? Leslie?
Well, I don't know how everyday it is, but I do have a little something here that people in Taiwan use often. It's a microphone.
Yes.
And you guys have used this microphone very often. But you know what? This is a Bluetooth microphone, which I believe is a Taiwanese invention.
Wow.
And this is good for all kinds of shenaniganery. You know what I'm
Very
saying?
good at karaoke.
Get a load of this, guys. I'm a singer. Get a load of this. I'm a stand-up comedian. Get a load of this. I'm the president giving the State of the Union address.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know, but that is my choice. The microphone, just a versatile piece of comedy or entertainment.
Very nice.
Very good. How about you, Andrew?
Oh, you guys are going to love this. Ta-da!
What is that? Oh,
It is a scalp massager.
I've seen you use this in the office. It was hilarious.
Oh, it's so
This is
good.
a Taiwanese thing.
It's a Taiwanese thing.
Oh,
Is
that-
it very
Did you
much
see
so?
the whole thing?
That
Yeah,
seems
yeah,
really
yeah.
pretty cool.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that does look comfortable though.
You
I
can
will
use
say.
it.
Oh my gosh.
You can
Don't
use
get
it
it
on
up
your
your nose
face
or anything.
too, if you want. See, rife with comedy. What about you, Natalie?
Okay. I got something here that's actually delicious.
Ooh.
It's mochi with
wow.
boba inside. It's soft on the inside. No, soft on the outside.
Yes.
And sticky on the inside. And I always thought it'd be great for throwing out.
Oh, Natalie!
No, you know what? I would be mad. I would be mad, but this is delicious. So, oh, thank you very much.
Boba inside.
Ooh. Man down, man down.
Well, there you go. Those are some things you can use in everyday life or in your, I guess, in your comedy if you want. Thank you so much for joining us for Taiwan Insider. Be sure to connect with us on social media.
Yes, and leave a comment and subscribe. And we would love to hear from you. For Taiwan Insider, I am Natalie Tso.
I'm Leslie Liao.
I'm Andrew Ryan. See you next week.